So today we're in the Hollywood Hills to tell a story about soil and restoration of soil in a big city. I think a lot of the times when we think about soil restoration in a city, we might imagine a rooftop garden or a big wide open space with sun and raised beds and a fence around it where people grow vegetables. But that's not the plot of land that we're talking about today. These are the forgotten spaces, the spaces no one cares about. The old pool that is now actually a food forest. That steep yard that no one thought could ever be worth anything but just a problem. The tiny triangle in between two roads. This is a group of people that are coming together to identify spaces that no one has ever cared about. They're coming together as a team, and they're putting their effort into those spaces and then turning them into a beautiful ecosystem that was never there before.
So we're out here in Hollywood right now, coming together with the soil sponge community. We've been working alongside them to help improve their soil fertility, to bring microbes into the spaces that they're trying to regenerate.
Most of us were environmental activists, and we realized that there was a limit to what we could do just in basic activism. And so we felt it was really imperative to get our hands physically in the soil and to do the physical work of restoration. We had no idea where we were going, and so it was just a matter of getting out on the soil, and it sort of followed its own organic flow. So we don't have any kind of top-down leadership. It's really held together by a circle of people.
The story with the soil sponge group actually started at a workshop. They'd been making compost, they had a lot of skill sets already, but what they were missing was actually growing these microorganisms inside compost.
When Keisha and Casey did the workshop and I saw the microbes through the microscope for the first time, I thought, oh my gosh, like you can't see it with the naked eye, and who knew that all this life was underground.
When you take our compost and you put it underneath a microscope, you're gonna see bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, a whole ecosystem of life that we use for restoring soil. We have allies in these microbes because they work 24/7.
The projects we've been working on here aren't something that's like huge production spaces. They're really here to make the community a little bit nicer, make use of spaces that aren't being utilized. The birdhouse, for instance, nobody was doing anything with it. This crew got together and put in their own effort and actually made that space beautiful.
In 2015, when we arrived, this was just kind of dirt falling down all around. This was a swimming pool, kind of a rock garden. It was someone's garden, but they had gotten too old to manage it. And now we have all of these plants. We got a papaya, we got peaches, 4 different kinds of figs over there. It's really about the food. And this is a food forest, and a lot of people would like to see this better tended, but I really believe in letting it go wild seasonally and let it tell us what it wants. This ground here, when we came, you literally couldn't get your fingernails down into it. I thought that you had to pile up layers of compost to get growing surface. No, what you're doing is you're bringing in biology that goes down and transforms your tough soils into living systems.
Let's see. Oh wow, look at that soil. It's dark. Look at that. It does really look like compost around the base of the tree. It really feels like cake.
This whole thing is at least 18 inches deep in compost now. It's from transforming that bad soil that was here before.
It's got a nice texture to it.
Smells fresh. When you make a tea or an extract from that compost, boom, see the results in the speed of its growth and the health of the leaves and the taste of the fruit. And Emma can tell you about that in the food garden.
My name is Emma Stark-Moore. I live in Beechwood Canyon, Hollywood, in the center of Los Angeles. I really didn't know anything about making compost. This soil was once just decomposed granite, no organic matter in it at all. So I met Keisha and Casey, and they gave me a bag of this compost, and I put it on that bed right there, and it just completely changed. It suddenly became incredibly fertile. So I started putting just a little bit of that compost on everything, and they just completely changed. John did the class with the Compost Academy and told me about the different ratios, and I use the compost that I was given as a starter. I'm making really good compost now. I used to kind of in a way feel like I was fighting it, and now that has completely changed. Now I get it. Everything is incredibly integrated, and it's really getting more and more productive, which is great. I'm only buying things that I can't grow. All my vegetables I'm growing here, and I'm growing so much that I can give it to people. Knowing how to grow food is a kind of superpower. You can grow a lot of food in a small space. It's kind of a primal need I think we have, most of us, to grow things. It makes me really happy. So, I don't know, that's about it really.
We don't need to own it, to steward it.
Would you be willing to show us the triangle, the spot you're talking about?
I think we should. We should
We
go
can
to
go over there.
triangle.
We still got a little bit of time.
Yeah. This is a once forgotten piece of land that's public. It's between a retention wall and the road. It was dirt. Really nothing was growing there. The Soil Sponge Collective took it on as a place to restore the soil, to restore fertility, to bring life to a place that really nobody had noticed before.
We would come in with a big tank that's full of microbes and water, and we spray the surface of the plants and we spray the ground. Then we would come in with what we call an injection unit. And it's basically a sharp bar that can push water through its tip, and we can put it about 3.5 feet in the ground, so we can deliver the microbes down into the soil to the tree roots.
It's been really incredible to see absolutely bare soil turn into basically a jungle. These plants have taken over these spaces now. There's so much green everywhere, you can't even see the soil anymore.
In the last 2 years, we haven't watered it. It's on its own now, it's taking off. And I wanted to kind of keep this end of the site as a control to show the difference of untouched, uncared for land. You can see the difference when you look at the soil here. Look, I can't even get my finger into it. And if we were to go over there where we've been doing our work, you'll see that the soil is robust and fertile.
Taking the spaces that are kind of forgotten and kind of neglected and turning them into something vibrant, and they become kind of islands in areas that are very, very disrupted, and they're biological islands. This is like where biology can thrive in the soil, and that biology can spread. It'll spread on the feet of birds, it'll spread on the bellies of lizards, insects, and it just kind of creates these little hubs in every community that just help expand that microbial populations throughout, you know, the entire neighborhood, eventually the entire state, and maybe the entire world.
Everyone was stopping and seeing us and going, wow, what are you doing here? Asking about the story, wanting to be a part of it. And every time we come back, we'll see the same neighbors and we'll go, oh wow, look at this, look at how it's grown. Look at this amazing work that's being done here. I don't think there's anything in a city that's more powerful than the people that live inside of it and how they can work together to make change.
So I think with any organization, the reality is people ebb and flow, and so it's always a matter of sustaining. How do you sustain something that you started? It's like carrying a torch. As long as a few of us are still carrying the torch, then we're still going. That commitment has to be the overarching reason for being, and that's true of our group. Go out and find people that you can be someone with. And so I think that's what's really important in this time in community building and working in restoration or regeneration, is you find some people who are as passionate as you are about changing the world. While we have a website, we have, social media, we really have never publicized much of anything we've done, and the people who find us, they find us organically. So it's mostly been like a friend brings a friend, and exponentially things change. We have kind of our core group, and then there's other people who are new that come in.
I do feel like I have been so lucky to be taken in by people willing to nurture me and being able to be of service in a group setting, and just knowing that it's really the foundation for everything, the foundation for everything we have, everything we are. If there was gonna be one thing to take care of in life, it would be soil, yeah.
It's truly learning how to be a village together. It's learning about how to love each other and take care of the earth together. That doesn't happen overnight.
When you do it together, it just feels like fun and the work gets done.
Because this is all volunteer work that we do, it's critically important that you have fun together. Without that, you are not going to sustain any kind of group ever. Stick with it for long enough that you cultivate love for the people that are coming to gather with you. That's the most important thing, and that's what's going to heal our earth.
Now, what I think is so beautiful about the soil sponge is it's not just their focus on community and their focus on soil, but their focus on lifting each other up, learning together, working together, coming together to accomplish an incredible goal. They're working like the microbes in the soil to expand and create an ever better ecosystem that they want to live in.